This is level N, list 5, and we're doing the day 1 page. And here we've got the AW making the OR sound. So there are about 11 ways that we can make the OR sound, and this is one of the earlier ones that you learnt. So we've got AW in OR, gawk, draw, awful, gnaw. Then we're changing to ARE for the air sound. So you've got fair, mare, spare, snare, and square. So the other air sounds you've learnt are AIR and EAR, as in bear. So let's go back and look at other things that we can see happening in these words. So because AW is a phonogram on its own, the only reason it has an E on the end is because they decided that if it was only 2 letters, it wasn't really an English word. Most English words have 3 or more letters, and because AW is a phonogram, to make it into a word, they put an E on the end of it. Gawk, we've got a long vowel sound here, so they put a K, you know to put a K after a long vowel sound at the end of a word. Draw, don't forget that ER on the end there. Or full, when you add full to a base word, you only use one L. Nor, we've got the silent G here, and we could have a silent G or K before an N, but this is one of the silent G words. Fair is fairly easy, mare, spare, snare, and square. Always remember that if you write a Q, you must have a U after the Q. Okay, let's go back and look at the meanings of these words. So, awe is a look of respect or wonder. So you might be in awe of your big brother or your uncle or cousin, means that you may really respect them and want to be like them. Gawk means when you stare openly and rudely at someone, and your parents would probably say, oh, don't gawk, which means don't look like that at someone. Drawer is a piece of furniture, and you pull the drawer out to put your things inside. Awful means something bad or not nice. Gnaw is when you repeatedly chew on something, like a dog will gnaw at a bone. Now this fare means where you have to pay money to travel on a bus or a train or a ferry. You've also learnt the other fare. This other fare has more meanings than that. So this would be like you've got fair skin or fair hair. It could mean that you're a kind person and you like to play fairly. And it could mean that you go to a little show, which would be a type of fair. A mare is a female horse or donkey. Spare means where you have another thing that's the same as one you already have. So we usually have a spare tyre in our boot. A snare could be a trap for a wild animal, and it can also be a type of drum. And a square is a shape with 4 equal sides. Okay, let's go back and look at reading, sounding, spelling, writing, and checking these words. So, or, we've only got 1 syllable there. Or, and there's only 1 sound because the last one has just been put there as a rule. So, AWE, AWE, AWE. This is level N, list 5, and we're doing the day 2 page, and we've got a revision of AW for the OR sound and ARE for the air sound. So let's read the words. We've got OR, gawk, draw, awful, and gnaw. You can colour the AW in those words one colour, and choose a different colour to colour the ARE for the air sound in these words: fair, mare, spare, snare, square. So we discussed the meanings of these words yesterday, so that should help you to finish this part. Let's go through and just highlight some of the things that you need to remember when you're spelling and writing these words. Now in OR, we know OR is a phonogram to make it into a word, and as most English words have 3 or more letters, they decided to put an E on the end of it. So gawk, we have a long vowel sound, that's why we just put a K after a long vowel sound. Draw, is the ER on the end. Full, when we add the suffix full to a word, you drop 1 L. Nor, we've got a silent G that we're revising in there. So G is commonly used before an N. Could be a K, could be a G, so you have to remember in NOR we're actually using a G in that case. Fare, now this fare is often confusing for kids. This fare means when you buy a ticket to go on a train or a bus or a ferry. So that's quite easy. A mare, of course, is a female horse. Spare, snare, square. Now always remember after a Q, you always have to write a U. Now let's go back and read the words, sound the words, spell them and write them. So we've got or, which is just the sound or, A-W-E, cover it and write it. You can do the rest of those on your own. Write the list word beside the correct meaning, a shape with 4 equal sides, so you've got to find those words from up here. You can read through the rest of those and fill them in. Fill in the gap with the missing list word. The hockey ball hit the player something in the forehead. Some people may say forehead, some may say forehead. It means the same thing, it's just pronounced differently. So you have to choose one of these words to fill in that gap too. Down the bottom it says fill in the sentence with the correct word. We've got draw or drawer, or. So they sound very similar. You have to work out which one goes in each sentence. Okay, this is level N list 5 and we're doing the day 3 page, and here we're looking at the AW making the OR sound as in saw, so we've got or, gawk, draw, awful and gnaw, and we're looking at the ARE making the air sound as in fair, mare, spare, snare and square. So you could colour in those phonograms in different colours and then choose another colour, and we're going to go back and look at the other things that we can see happening in these words. So or, the only reason we have this E on the end of it is because when they were organising how English words would be spelt, they decided that as most words have 3 or more letters in them, or on its own would be a phonogram, seen as a phonogram, not as a word, so they would change it from a phonogram into a word by putting an E on the end of it and making it into a 3-letter word. Gawk, you know, after you have a long vowel sound, you just put a K, and you're using G for the gut sound, and we know it's saying gut because it's got an A after it. So if it's G is followed by an A, O, U, L or R, you know it's going to say gut. Now this is drawer, and that's one of those things that you put something in a room. You put lots of things inside a drawer. Awful, if you're adding the suffix full, you're going to drop one L on it. Nor, you've got a silent G there before the N. Could be a K, could be a G, but we know nor we're going to use G for that silent letter. Fair, that's pretty easy. Mare, spare, snare and square. The only tricky thing we've got in square is you must always remember to put a U after a Q in any word. Now let's go back and read the word, sound the word and spell the word and then write it. Let's do a harder one than or because that's a bit easy. Let's start with the second word, which we've got gawk. Gawk, G-A-W-K, cover it and write it on the line. Don't forget to check to make sure you've spelt it correctly. Fill in the gap with the word using its correct verb tense. The boat, something badly in the storm, so you're going to have to work out whether you add an S, an ING or an ED to the end of that base word to make it make sense in that word, and then work your way through those other sentences. These are some common sayings that we quite often hear people using in their everyday language, or you might also read it in a book. So it's important you know what people are saying when they're discussing things. It's also important that you understand what an author is trying to tell you. So spare a thought for, spare no expense. So you might need to discuss those within your group and hopefully someone will know what they mean. Make the adverb and use it in a sentence. So we've discussed this quite a bit, that quite often, not all the time, but quite often we can add ly to a base word to form an adverb. So we'd have awfully, squarely. Don't forget, if you're breaking awful up into parts, you're going to see that you're going to have double L there because you've got the full as the suffix and then the ly forming the adverb. So definitely got a double L there. Squarely would be another one. Compound words, what word from up here will go with some, tire or well to make words that through common usage that become one word. Two individual words become one word over time when we use them a lot together. Follow the plural pattern. I draw a chest of drawers, so you know how to form plurals. That's not hard. One mare, a couple of mares. No tricks there for you. Fill in the gap with the correct word. You've got draw, drawer, drawers. So you've got a verb there and two nouns, and you've got a plural noun as well. So work out which of those fits in each of those sentences. This is level N, list 5, and we're doing the day 4 page where we're just making sure you know when to use then versus than, and also down the bottom we've got some homophones. So the common mistakes are we should say less than, not less than, and we should say rather than, not rather than. So than is used to make comparisons, and then is used to tell us what comes next. So fill in the gap with then or than. Olive's hair is longer than mine. So we're comparing things. We're comparing the length of our hair. Abby fell off her bike and then she started to cry. Tells us what comes next. So we'd use then in there. So they're quite easy for you to finish. Down the bottom you have to cross out and replace the incorrect homophone with the correct word. So the hair, now we know hair is spelled incorrectly there. That's the hair on your head. This hair we're meaning to be the large rabbit type of hair. So it would be H-A-R-E. So you just have to cross it out and write the word underneath it. The hare and the tortoise decided to have a race. All the animals in the forest wondered if the hare or the tortoise would win. Oops, I can see that's another incorrect one there. So write the word correctly underneath. You can finish the rest of that on your own. There are 44 errors, so be careful, look very carefully at the words.